I grew up here in Pueblo. I'm a Pueblo native. My parents are my mom is from Pueblo, my dad is from Raton, New Mexico. And I mean, I've been raised here. I went to Pueblo County High School. There's a really strong sense of community with my family. My dad in specific, and both my mom and my dad have spent and dedicated a lot of their time in engaging with the community. And so then I grew up around this wealth of support. And so then I met the piano professor here at CSU Pueblo. And he really, just working with him, I realized that he's one of the best piano professors in the state. And then I was actually in a choir with, I think he was the chair at the time of the engineering department. And I spoke with him a lot about CSU Pueblo and the engineering department. He really encouraged me to come here. And then, you know, I looked at the financials wise and how it was better to stay at home. And I realized that a lot of my friends are going to CSU Pueblo. And, you know, those are the primary reasons, is the programs, the support, and the finances. I'm also a scholarship recipient of the Kane Family Foundation Scholarship, which is a full ride. So I have my finances paid for, my education, books, any fees, and that's a huge part of you know, my life here as a student at CSU Pueblo. The process for scholarships was, it took a lot to prepare for it, but once I started the process, it was really straightforward, and really a lot of my life had led up to that point. You know, my mom, one of her big things was when she was growing up, she got out of a living situation by going to school and going to college, and got scholarships for what she did. And so she was deeply, you know, she wanted me to make sure that I knew to get scholarships. I got a year ahead in music, was testing out of classes, was taking a lot of private lessons instead of taking classes. And then this semester I started looking at the finances of being an engineer, and alongside the time commitments. And I've realized that really I want to support music educators. And I'd love to do that with both time and money, with like sponsoring events and sponsoring districts and schools and so on. And I'm not sure if I can do that as a music educator, just because of how the financial system looks for it, as well as the time commitment. So right now my primary focus of study is engineering. So mechatronics is, to me, the way I interpret it, is a mixture of electrical and mechanical engineering. So in the end, you're focusing on a lot of like robotics and like control systems, which is just the combination of computer programming, circuitry, and then the mechanics of certain machines and factory systems. Actually, one of my like life goals for my engineering degree and my music degree is to create something called synthesizers, which are like basically like the sound of the 70s and the 80s with you know, like Daft Punk or like Kraftwerk and those groups, and so being able to use my engineering degree to create my own instrument is something that I've dreamed of, because you know, Brian May, you know, made his own guitar, and Keith Emerson built his own modular synthesizer, and so I'd love to do that, but where I actually design all of the electrical components and put it all together and perform with it. I just think that'd be so cool. I would not be anywhere near as you know, healthy and successful as I am now without these scholarships. I'm a Kane Scholar. I'm also a Daniels Fund Scholar. I'm a recipient of the Bill and Mildred Evan Hoag's Scholarship, as well as the PHEF Foundation Scholarship. I'm so passionate about music, and I've realized that there's not enough time in the world to do the things that I want to do, which is a better problem than having, you know, not enough finances in the world to be able to follow my passions. And so I think it's incredibly important that students are given this opportunity, and it's pushed me so far, so much farther than I thought I could ever be as a student. And so I will forever be thankful for that.